good afternoon, one and all. Today, amongst us, we have Mr. John Varughese, sir. John Varughese, sir, has a very rich professional experience in his career. John, sir, is currently holding the position of Vice President International with two famous sister brands, Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts, where he is responsible in setting up business and the brands for solid, consistent growth. He has also been responsible to set up the leadership team for business success across different regions. Sir has completed his bachelor's and master's in commerce from Pune University. Let me mention with special pride that Sir is an alumnus of IMDR, where he did his MBA in marketing and is a pass out of 1991 batch. Sir started his career in 1986, where he worked with Klein Beacham as an executive responsible for meeting sales target. He moved from Klein Beacham to Wadilal Enterprises, where he held the position of area sales manager for Bombay region. With this assignment, he started his romance with ice cream and has continued till this day. In the year 1992, he worked with Galadari Ice Cream as a country manager, Saudi Arabia, where he profitably managed Baskin-Robbins outlet in Saudi Arabia and ensured pace of growth by opening stores systematically over a wide geographical spread. He maintained extremely high operational standards to complete satisfaction of the principal. Sir got promoted from country manager Saudi Arabia to manager Gulf. Here, Sir was responsible for profitably managing 200 company owned stores and entire business in hotels and supermarkets across the Gulf country. Ever since then, he continued to grow and got associated with Dunkin' brands. In the year 2007, Varughese Sir got promoted as Director for Middle East and won Chairman's Platinum Award for overall excellence. His achievements didn't stop here. In the internal talent assessment, he was recognized as high performer and high potential candidate. As a managing director, Sir looked after Baskin Robbins in Southeast Asia, India, Middle East, Europe, and Russia. I feel privileged to get an opportunity to introduce such a dynamic alumnus of IMDR and once again welcome him back to IMDR virtually. Sir, we are all excited to hear you share your experience and wisdom, and we are looking forward for a value addition session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for this opportunity, one. And thank you for this very, very nice and kind introduction where you actually embarrassed me. I don't like to hear about myself a lot, but thank you so much for the very good and kind introduction.
Thank you, sir.
First
Thank
of all, so respected Shika ma'am and the faculty and everybody in the IMDR management team, office team, everyone, my due respects to all of you and to all the students, a very, very warm welcome. And thank you for being here this afternoon. And for me, it's a privilege and a joy just to be talking to somebody from IMDR. So when I look back at my journey, when I was asked to talk a little bit about my professional journey, but my for me my professional journey really starts from IMDR. Just to state certain facts, when anybody asks me or my wife, my kids, and my friends here now, I'm based out of Dubai, and Dubai is where the international office for Dunkin' Brands is. So when I talk to my friends here, and they all know that the best 2 years of my life, period. No, I'm not talking of my education life. I'm not talking of my professional life. The best 2 years of my life has been in IMDR. And there is no confusion, no ambiguity, and no debate about it. So I am so clear that these were the best 2 years of my life. This IMDR as an institution, not to please or satisfy anybody, but what it has done to me is what I'm saying, has changed me as a person, made me into or set the foundation and seeds for and making me what I am today, or on the journey of becoming a better person. But it's all because of the confidence and everything else that IMDR taught me. So to me, my real professional journey begins with my time at IMDR that really, really changed me as a person and enabled me to express even more clearly. And I'm not only talking academics, okay? I was never a topper. I was never among the top 10, 15 also. So don't think it's only academics. I was never a topper. Let's get that straight. I was never in the top 10, 15 for anything, but it taught me a lot. It taught me many, many things which I will hopefully walk along the way. But it's important to also know what happened when you look at one's resume. You don't look at where you failed. It only talks. Nobody puts wrong things that this happened, this was not right in my resume, or this was wrong in my resume, I got something wrong. So likewise my resume will not carry anything that what went wrong. So but it's important that all of you all know that in my first job, maybe second job, where I really started, because my first was a very small one. I don't even consider it as a job, but again, technically, I was working for a chewing gum company. Okay, within 5 months, I got kicked out of the job, and I say that very, very proudly today, simply because very early in life, it taught me one very clear thing: don't play around when you come to your career. Work hard. There is absolutely no compromise to working hard. And that was a lesson. And I'm very, very glad I learned that lesson very early in life. Very, very early in life. I learned that don't play around, don't, because that was the time I was taking like a typical sales job. I will go do something, then spend time with friends, again come back, work whenever I want to. It just took 5 months for the company to realize that I'm useless. And they got me out of the job. And then I joined Swastik Rubber Products. Then I joined some other company. And then I joined Smith Klein Beecham, which was HMM then, which is GSK now, Glaxo Smith Klein Beecham, which made Horlicks, Boost, all those kind of products. So I joined them. I worked there. And then after 2, 3 years of working there, I did well, because one, I realized, I learned that I have to work hard. So I was doing fine, no problem. But then I decided to do my MBA by coming to IMDR. But we were not relatively well off. We were. I had to, work to make ends meet. I had to fund my own education because there was no other. My parents could not, because we came from a poor background. My brother also passed out from IMDR. He also worked, did his MBA from IMDR, and he also passed out. His name is George. For people who know, he's the CEO for Indian Express. So he also worked and then came back and did his MBA. I followed his footsteps, worked, made some money, and then came back to do my MBA. But there is an interesting story there as well. Since we were not well off, and the company I was working was very, very good, real good multinational then. There was a lot of pressure at home not to leave the job, to try and see if you can keep the job and do MBA. After 2 months of coming to IMDR, I realized I did both for the first 2 months. I realized that I will not do justice to my job, because I already learned the hard way when I was in my first job that if you don't do well, you will get kicked out. I did not want one more of that incidents to happen. But on the other hand, I realized what I'm missing out in college, that I'm not doing full justice to what I'm should be doing, which is to learn. So, or in other words, my real agenda was, I saw everybody else having fun and I was not. So I said, okay, somewhere I have to make a call. So I did not tell my parents that I'm actually resigning. I told my parents that I lost my job again. So they must have thought at that point of time, he's such a loser. He lost 2 jobs and now he's again lost. But since I was doing my studies, my parents are very supportive. We said, fine, does not matter. Your life will change from here on, from IMDR onwards. So I went back to college, and it's only after, while I was passing out, or well ready to pass out, did I tell my parents that I actually resigned and mm, um, did not lose my job. But when I look back at it, that decision was such a very, very critical, crucial, important decision of my life that changed me for good. So when I came to IMDR, I came with a lot of experience on the work, but the fact that I worked, I knew how difficult work is. I really started enjoying my college life again. And when I say, and that is one thing that I want everyone to know. If you enjoy what you're doing, there will be a different way of doing things. Now, it may sound very simple. Okay, everyone says have fun, but it is the fun from within. It is the deep passion with which you will have fun, the deep passion with which you will do everything you do. When I say I really had fun during my 2 years in college, I mean I attended every single party, every single fun event, everything across there. I did all 100%, because I knew after these 2 years, I'm not going to have this kind of 2 years in my life again. So I enjoyed that. But what it also meant was, it did not mean having fun in isolation and only having fun. I also did my work with a clear passion, because I had even resigned my job. So I had to work and understand and study and lead. So, the journey there taught me how to lead. As I said before, I did not top in any one subject. But what I did well, I came in the top three in one subject, which was the summer training project and the project report that had to be given. I did well in that, simply because, and that gave me a lot of confidence to say, you understand what you're doing, you go after deeply where you're doing, you go after passionately and work hard and sincerely and understand the basics of what you're doing and really try to excel by slogging and working hard, you will really do well. And that's what I did to my summer training project. I did not do my summer training project as a project. I did is something that I was having fun there as well. I enjoyed the work. And just to give you 2 minutes, it was for a newspaper trying to increase circulation, in Pune. Now, when you try to increase circulation for a newspaper in Pune, it's not easy, because newspaper reading is an habit. You can't just go and tell a person, buy my newspaper. This is a different newspaper, buy this newspaper. It doesn't work. So we decided, if we have to change habits, we have to get people to buy this newspaper for 30 days. Okay. And by buying it for 30 days, people will slowly get into habit of reading, and then they will change. But when we go to the vendors, the newspaper vendors in Pune, they refuse to put newspapers for free. They said, no, we will not put. So we said, forget it, you don't put, I'm going to go myself. So we used to go every day morning at 5 in the morning, go to 50, 100 houses, put newspapers for 1 month in a row, and then the next batch, and then the next batch, so on and so forth. What I'm trying to say is, and then we made it possible, and the company was very happy, and we really saw a change in habits as a result of that. What I'm really trying to get at is, putting a paper in everybody's house. If somebody would have said, what was a summer training project, I went house putting newspapers, so people would have laughed at me, but we were trying to prove that if you do something and if you give a newspaper to people for 30 days, they can change habits. To me, that was the passion, that was the drive, that was the one that was pushing us to go and do something. So when you do that, it does not matter. It just does not matter what you have to do. When you decide you have to reach somewhere, then go after it. There is dignity of labor in doing absolutely anything to achieve your goal. I'll give one more small example while in IMDR. And what I'm trying to get at is not about me. What I'm trying to get at is, when we work with passion, you are happy to do anything under the sun. It just does not matter. What matters is the end goal. What matters is how you reach there. The journey is where the problem is. Like, and just to give one more example, while in IMDR, I was the seminar coordinator as well, and helping a lot on the placement part of it as well. And then one fine day, we realized that next day companies were coming to office, to IMDR campus, and we were, I mean, everything is clean. We were trying to look at everything, and at around 5:36, we realized that the toilets, the basement toilet, I hope the toilets are still there, were very dirty. Now we decided we could not go back to anyone and say, what do we do? We went to the market, bought paints, got into the toilet, painted the toilets, and came out and made it look good. Now, if the principal then, Mr. Bopatkar sir, would have asked us to do that, we would not. If somebody would have asked us, can you paint the toilets? First of all, nobody will ask you to paint the toilets. But the point was, when we care, when we deeply are passionate and very focused on what we want to achieve, and it was not me alone, okay? It was me and a few of my friends. It is not a story about me, but it's about when you are when you're very clear, then your friends and the ecosystem and the circle that you are in all support your cause, because you're absolutely clear on why you want to do it, how you're going to do it, and to make it happen, you're willing to go to any extent to make it happen. Today, I say that out of pride that I even painted the toilets of IMDR. Okay, so when I look back at that, how did that change me? It changed me as a person to say, to get something accomplished, have a clear goal, to get something accomplished, be willing to go to extra mile to get certain things accomplished. There is no, don't be ashamed to do anything under the sun. There is dignity of labor or anything in doing anything, only because at the end of the day, you are going ahead with a clear direction, with a clear vision, with a clear sense of purpose on what you want to achieve, and that was what drives you. When that purpose and that drives you, and it is that purpose, that the mission that is above everything else, then everything the falls in place. Everything is justified. You don't be ashamed, or you're not. Nothing is holding you back to get to the end goal. So to me, that was what started making me into a person. So it taught me. MDR sent me out academically. Many things I learned, which I used very much later on in life on various different times and various different platforms. But it sent me out into the world as somebody who could lead, somebody who could control, manage, lead. It I did not know that I had leadership qualities in me before IMDR. IMDR taught me, because of being all these things that I did with the team, that I could lead, and that changed my personality a lot. That changed my personality a lot, to a very, very large extent. And then when I got my first job also, from the it was not from the campus, technically speaking. From the campus, I got another job, but I joined Vadilal. And that too, it's an interesting story. When I joined Vadilal, when I was sitting in college, when one of my colleagues from the same batchmate got the job in Vadilal Ice Cream. And i and given my background of working, I really wanted that kind of a job. I said, oh, this is so good. I had got into a pharmaceutical company, which I really did not want, but I wanted a job, so I got one, but I was not interested in joining that. But so when I saw about Vadilal, and I heard this guy got it, and I was so disappointed with myself that I should have got that. Then I heard from him that he's not going to take up, because he got another better one somewhere in the north, where he came from. So he said, I'm going to take a job that is closer to my house. I said, great. Don't write to Vadilal. I will write to Vadilal about you not joining. So I went to Vadilal, to the company, and said, you have offered such and such a person a job. He cannot take it, but I cannot. I want to apply for the same job. I have the same experience before joining MBA. I have this. They called me for an interview. Same day they gave me an offer. Again, what I'm trying to drive it at, it's simple and very simple. The message is simple. When you want something, you find a way to get it done. Okay. Now, frankly and honestly, to all of y'all, I myself had not thought about all these things now. When in preparation to talk to y'all, I thought about these things, and I thought it will be interesting to talk to y'all about these things, because that is what probably made me. I did not realize that none of these things were done consciously. It was done because it naturally happened at that point of time. But when I look back at myself and say what happened, probably these are the things that helped shape me into what I am. And from there on, I got into the ice cream industry. And then, as you very nicely introduced by the person there, that really took and talked about my journey. Then I went into the Gulf. I really started working for Baskin. And for the first few years, I was working for the master franchisee for Baskin Robbins in the Middle East. They are the franchisee for the whole of Gulf. And I went into Saudi Arabia. That's also very critical and very interesting. Nobody goes to Saudi Arabia then. There was no movies, there was no pubs, there was no bars, there was no discos, there is nothing there. There's only, because it was a strict Islamic country with very, very strict rules. So, and people ask me, why are you going there? I said, I got a very good job, so good job with a good responsibility, and I'm going there. So I let my professional life supersede my personal needs, and I went there. So today, when I look back, that has been one of the best decisions. Again, from an investment point of view, Saudi Arabia, going there is one of the biggest markets for us as a company globally, for both our brands, Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts. And me being there many years back as a franchisee, not as a company, not as Dunkin' Brands International, but for the Middle Eastern franchisee, me spending 5 years there did make a difference in my journey and in the company's journey. So I spent time there. I spent 4 5 years there. Then I came to Dubai, where I got promoted as the general manager for Galadari, for franchisee of Baskin. After spending 2 3 years there, I got an offer to join the Dunkin' Brands International, the parent of Baskin Robbins. At that point of time, there was only Baskin that I was responsible for in handling Middle East. And then Baskin and Dunkin' Donuts also came in because it was a sister company. They merged both together and said they'll all operate under one head. So I got to handle two brands, Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts from Middle East. Then my area was increased. I was promoted, and then I started handling Middle East and Southeast Asia for Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts. And then obviously, as you said, as you heard him say, I got promoted. All those things. Europe came into my geography, and then over the last few years, I was vice president again, handling Middle East, Europe, and Southeast Asia. And then 2.5 years back, I became senior vice president and head of international, handling all countries from Japan, Korea, China, Australia into Southeast Asia, into Middle East, Africa, Europe, except for LATAM and North America. Everything else is, I kind of manage 70 countries for both brands. And that's where my journey is. I'm so happy to be working for this company like Dunkin' Brands. Very nice company. If you see my journey from the lowest possible position in the company to managing international today, I feel very proud, but I also feel extremely grateful to the company who provided and gave me the platform at every stage to grow. At all along, my company has been extremely nice. Um, and that philosophy is goes to even in today's tough situation where company sales are down. We had so much of issues because of the pandemic. We did not cut any employee salary. We said no, because that reflects on our company's ethos, our attitude, and the brands that we work in. Baskin and Dunkin. We are so passionate and so nice, and because our philosophy, as laid down by a CEO, also says, be strong, smart, and kind. Kind is there in our philosophy. Be nice, be kind to people. Strong and smart, we all know, is the business side of it. The kindness is the human side of it. And we have that in our values. He has made it very clear, and we try to live that day in and day out as a company, as a brand, and our every interaction. I have a philosophy with my team, with my international partners, that says your success is our success. Which means what? My reason for existence, my purpose in life is to make you successful. Now, it is not only when you say your success is our success, is not only the business or the philosophical. Every single interaction, we try to live the fact that your success is our success, which means what? I care for you, I value you, I really want you to do good, because if you do good, I will do good on everything. Even and now imagine trying to use that your success is our success at home with your family members, when every conversation of yours is about caring for the other person. Ultimately, you will benefit and you will start becoming bigger and better, and so on and so forth. And at work, you start using that philosophy. And in your friends, you start using the philosophy. With your colleagues, you start using that philosophy. But it is a much deep rooted philosophy that says, we care for you, and your success will make me successful, because my success comes through you. It is your approach and your success is what will make me look go good and grow up in life. So that philosophy is what we imbibe. And so I'm thoroughly enjoying my job. If I have to only, I will not talk long, because I don't want to be talking here much about myself. I really want to open it up for questions and really understand how I can add value, because this is more of a self praising trip, which will not take me anywhere. But I really want to open it up. I just wanted to give you a small introduction and a background of myself and my journey. I was asked to talk about my journey. I really wanted to just explain that in as short a duration as possible, because I don't want to sit here and talk about myself, but I really want to open it up and really ask people, Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can answer, or I can help, or you all have any questions under the sun? Please feel free to ask, because my intent is to use this time in a way that is beneficial to you, and a learning for me. So once again, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. But and I'm happy to talk about any questions you have, anything under the sun. If I can answer, I will answer. If I don't know, I will be honest enough to tell you I don't know, because I am not Superman or anyone for that matter. I am just like one among you. I am from Pune, born and brought up in Pune, studied in Pune, and I keep coming back to to Pune for every small holiday or vacation, because my life, everything, my friends, all are still in Pune. So I'm happy to come and see you all in person, but the pandemic obviously makes life difficult for all of us. But once again, thank you all, and for listening. But I'm really looking forward to the interaction. That I would like to see in y'all asking any questions y'all want, and I'll try to do my best to add value in whichever way possible. With that, I'll hand it over back to the team.
Students, you may please unmute yourself and ask questions.
So, sir, I wanted to ask, well, you are into ice creams and desserts, and honestly, that is my favorite thing too. But due to the pandemic, obviously, consumption of ice creams must have gone down very much, because then it instigates cold and all. So, I think globally, what is the impact on the ice cream sector, and what are the plans for the future? Like, how are you planning on getting out of this?
It's a very good question, but I'll give you some insights that I'm sure you'll be surprised with. Uh, Ice cream as a category, we all got hit on sales across the board. When it happened, whether it started from China, our business in China got affected. Then we moved to Japan, Korea a little bit. Our business got affected a little bit in the very early stages. I'm talking of December, Jan, Feb. And then it moved from there, and those places got better. It came into the Middle East, it came into other places, and now it's gone all over the world. So initially, we all kind of, sales got affected, you know. And when the sales got affected across the board, it was not only ice cream, but whether it's ice cream, whether it was burger, chicken, pizzas, or you name it, all of us got affected. But we had invested in a good infrastructure in delivering ice cream home. So we got an avenue to actually take our ice cream and reach the consumer where he is. It's very important to understand the consumer changed his behavioral habits. He's not coming out now. He's sitting at home and using delivery, whether it is in India or Zomato's or Swiggy's of the world. That became my convenient way of consuming across the world. Okay, I'm not only referring to India. And so we got some window that some business came back by using our delivery infrastructure to, improve the sales of delivery. But one most important thing was, see, let me also go back on and talk about one more thing so that I can get this explanation of this in a much more simpler manner. When the crisis happened, there are three stages that people go through. First stage was anxiety, total panic, everybody freaking out, nobody knowing what to do, everybody gets inside, tries to be as safe as possible. After the anxiety phase, the second phase is the adaptability phase, where you start adapting, where you say that fine, this is there, I have to now adapt to the situation, I have to find ways to live with it, because I just can't be locked down, right? You start adapting. And the third stage is the acceptance stage, where you start saying, this is not going to go away for long, this is going to remain there, I have to find a way to work, and the countries have to open up and accept this whole thing. Now, when you start getting into the adapting phase and the acceptance phase, people have already got fed up sitting inside the four walls of the house. They want to enjoy, they want to indulge themselves in small indulgences at home. So what one great insight that we had was, one of the fastest growing categories when you're sitting at home, in the four walls with your family and no friends, nothing, just y'all, ice cream as a category provided that relief to the consumer sitting at home. We have a product called ice cream cakes. Ice cream cakes sold the highest ever in the world right from Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Middle East, all countries, USA, you name it, everywhere across the world, we saw our ice cream cake sales going through the roof. It was not that suddenly there were more birthdays, there were more wedding anniversaries, or more celebrations. It was they were celebrating the fact that we are at home, we are safe, the fact that our family is safe, or small wins, just that, okay, let us celebrate, let us cut a cake, and so on and so forth on one hand. And on the other hand, the simple joy of eating something sweet with our ice cream and donuts or other things, especially when you are all at home and you are slowly moving from the anxiety stage to the adapting stage and then to the acceptance stage where you start indulging a little bit more. So that is how you see the ice cream industry as whole has thrived during the crisis, because ice cream provides that small happiness through one product for a family of 4, 6, or 8, whatever it is. Ice cream as a category provided, and then when people are looking, and sweets also did provide to a very large extent, but ice cream even more. I just read an article this morning actually that Unilever actually went and announced that their ice cream division did far better than their personal products division, worldwide. So that is what sometimes categories can do, and that is sometimes what we also learned. We did not know for sure that this is how it's going to happen, but we learned along the way on the journey that ice cream as a category in deep crisis, in situations where things don't work, or you're completely isolated, or you're really into the four walls of your house or with your family, you need to break out. Every individual needs some way to vent out and enjoy. We just provided that enjoyment to the family at home, and by doing delivery we managed to even tell him, you can get ice cream at home without even leaving your home. We will get it to you there. And so we managed to bridge the gap and be relevant to the consumer at a time when he needed something to get out of his doom and gloom, as I may call it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And it was a really great insight. I did not realize that it would actually help the ice cream industry. I mean, it is
Yeah.
great.
To be fair, nor did we realize. We coming from the industry, we never thought this is what's going to happen. But when we saw sales improving, and then I saw the trend across the world, and when I saw industries now, even companies, as of this morning, I saw about Unilever as well. So if it is, that is what it has done. And now I'm even more convinced that it is absolutely true. We had only our numbers earlier. Now we have the industry as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for your question. Meanwhile, before Shivnesh asks next question, students, you can keep your hands raised. After Shivnesh, sir, you can ask your questions. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. I am Dr. Abhijit Shune. I teach operations and supply chain management. So
Mhm.
I would like to ask a question related to that. See, recently we have changed our this specialization title. Earlier it was operation. Now we call it as supply chain and operations. So my question is, are there any jobs for this postgraduates in management in supply chain because of the pandemic situation and post-pandemic, that home delivery, which is the buzzword now, because everything has to be delivered home. We are also teaching from home. So in this situation, these are the tangible goods which you are going to deliver, and shops are not going to open for at least 2 3 months. It will be difficult. So after the pandemic situation also, will there be any prospects in this area of delivery, or will you give this job to salespeople only?
See, again, thank you for the question. I think supply chain is much more, very much broad, as you know. It's so much more, not just delivery, and it is so much more in trying to ensure that during the pandemic everything was there and all availability of all products are there completely, to ensure that we meet the needs and demands with all the constraints of manufacturing, distribution, logistics, and so on and so forth. When it comes to delivery also, there are two parts to it. There is lot. First of all, to answer your very question directly, supply chain and logistics, is one of the most advanced sectors and growth sectors as I see it, because there is a lot that is happening. When more technology takes over, these kind of jobs have even more, because more and more, you will, I'm not saying one thing or the other will happen, but one thing for sure will happen is that technology will come for sure into play in a very big way. Technology will start deciding, like delivery, like online ordering, like all kind of different stuff that will, with your phone you can do everything. You can make payments through your phone, so on and so forth. So technology will become a big part, but with that comes the ability to deliver in a way that the consumer wants. Your normal conventional way of delivery will no longer hold good. We have to wait and see how many people will continue visiting shops, or post the pandemic behavioral habits will change and they may demand something different. And when they start demanding something different, our whole supply chain infrastructure, our delivery infrastructure, our logistics infrastructure, and our entire ecosystem that supports this has to change and adapt to the need. So to answer your question, whether jobs and opportunities will be there or not, absolutely will be there. In what form or shape it will be, only time will say. Because if the pandemic lasts for more than say 12 to 15 months more, people will change habits for good. There are a lot of habits that will change, and we will, as service providers, we have to adapt very very fast to what their need is. We cannot sit and say, this is my organization, this is the way I operate, and this is my structure, and we wait for things to happen. It won't happen. We have to constantly keep understanding how the consumer needs have to be met and fulfilled, and what is my role as a service provider to fulfill that. Logistics, it become a very very important key, because if we are now finding to provide convenience to the consumer by taking our products home, the number of people on the road delivering that product, and we ensuring that from the factory to the country, from the country to the shop to the warehouse, from the warehouse to the shop, and from the shop to the house, at all stages, supply chain and the logistics infrastructure has to be nice and solid, so that we can actually meet and exceed the consumer expectation. If any one of these things go wrong, we will actually degrade and we'll actually lose more. So it is extremely important that we are on top, and all these points and all the different sectors and all the different touch points, we are ensuring that the product is in good shape, and we are giving the end product to the customer in a way that he wants and where he wants. For that to happen, supply chain and logistics becomes even more important than ever before. Because I was talking of food, I was talking of ice cream or donuts or coffee, but this philosophy that I just told you, because of e-commerce and every other thing, this industry is just blowing out of proportion. This industry is a sunrise sector, and this industry will continue to grow, and there are a lot of jobs available in this, simply because the consumer is now demanding, I want convenience. And when the consumer wants convenience, the companies have to adapt. And the best way for them to adapt is to having a strong logistics and supply chain infrastructure. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
So when you told that you had an option of choosing a pharmaceutical company, but you chose and you wanted Vadilal. So what was your reason for actually choosing that industry per se?
If you look at my background before that, I worked in SmithKline Beecham. It was same FMCG products. Before that, I was selling chewing gums, FMCG products. Pharmaceutical was little different. I was not sure what was going to be. So if it was more FMCG, the conventional FMCG, and not the pharmaceutical FMCG, I knew it would have been something that I could have used my experience prior to my MBA. I would be able to put it to good use. Looking back today, probably that was the right decision. That was the only reason. Very simple, not complicated, my comfort zone, and that's what decided. There was no other reason. It was not money, first of all. I did not even look at money. To me, it was what kind of a company that I will be happy working with. I don't even remember whether there was any difference in money or whether one was more or high. I really don't remember today. But the only reason was my comfort. I thought I will be more comfortable doing this kind of a job.
Which turned out to be in your favor, as you said. Thank you so
Abs-
much.
Absolutely. I mean, I look back today, probably that was the right pivot and turning point in my life. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for your question. Can we move to our next question?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, like, what were your observations on the market behavior towards the products, like across the world, as you've traveled a lot, and they were all very much of similar products, like ice cream, or like what was the market behavior during the
Um,
COVID or before COVID as well?
oh, okay. See, during the COVID, as I told you, one is we saw that the ice cream as a category has a different need state that we're trying to fulfill, which we were ourselves probably not fully aware under the circumstances and how a sweet treat can make a difference in people's lives. So that was a great insight for us. And obviously, as a result of that, consumer behavior, as I told you, has changed during COVID, where they're not moving out. So we found that we have to be relevant and we have to be in the way they consume any product. If they are going to use e-commerce to consume, we have to be on that channel. If they are going to use some other way to consume, we have to be on that channel. We have to be where the consumers are. The consumers are not necessarily going to come to us always. So we have to adapt. I think that consumer behavior change was very critical. Another thing that changed post COVID was the fact that anything we did had to be food safety proof, because people now became more aware on the fact that it has to be food safe, it has to be hygienic, it has all those factors which is always important in the food industry and always important to us as a brand. I think the consumer expectation started going further up. And I'm not again referring to India alone, but every single country, even where our food safety standards were absolutely gold, we had to do a gold plus standard, because that is what the consumer is asking. If you see a person without a mask, it's impossible, they will not come in. Wearing gloves, wearing visors, having an acrylic sheet in front of the counter of a shop. Those are simple cues that the customer is saying, if you don't have these basic things, you're not in this game. You're not playing this game. So safety and security, how the consumer feels secure in our environment, has become extremely critical. In a post-COVID world, we are supposed to give everything they're asked for, but again now in a food safe, in a secure environment where the customer feels that I'm doing that this is great. Another thing that came about in the post-COVID world is the fact that customers during difficult times always go to brands they trust. The trust element of a brand during crisis is what stands out even more. When you have to decide between two or three brands, if you trust one brand, that will go right up, simply because your interaction and your emotional connect with the brand over the years comes to benefit now. In a crisis, nobody wants to experiment. They don't want to try new things. They're happy with what they have, but they want to have a safe, tried and tested, and a brand that I know will give me good quality stuff day in and day out. Because this is not the time to experiment. This is not the time to try new things. So we saw all reputed brands, the sales actually went through the roof up, because all the effort and the credibility that you built over the years came into use now. Because in a crisis, you go after your trusted, whether it's a brand or anything. In a crisis, you go after some your safety first approach, and the safety first approach for food are the brands that you trust. And that is what is happening, from a post-COVID world. Now, in a post-COVID world, it is still a very, very dynamic situation, because the post-COVID world has not ended. We are all going to see even more changes happening, and that's why I said, even while answering the earlier question, this is a journey. We are never going to find out till the time a vaccine comes and then the whole world is vaccinated, that we will move onto a complete new reality of how people have changed and what we have to adapt. Till then, it is dynamic, because the countries are changing, the country policies are changing. There is a lockdown today, there is no lockdown tomorrow. Things are there today and then it is not there tomorrow. Even the countries are finding it difficult, because it's such a dynamic situation. So we as a brand, during this change, we have to be the constant that we will give you great quality, we will give you consistent service, we will give you consistent taste profile, we will continue to do, because you know us and you trust us, we will not let you down. So that becomes our mantra, to stay relevant, stay true, to stay consistent, but adapt and keep changing day in and day out to the consumer's need. So constant, when I say constant, means consistency in delivering and meeting consumers' need. Constant and consistent does not mean you don't change. Because if you don't change, you're dead. Absolute dead meat. You have to change so fast to meet the consumer's need, that the consumer's need is also evolving. What he needs today is not what he needs tomorrow. What is innovation of today is the normal behavior of tomorrow. So we have to keep evolving with time. We have to keep adapting with time. We have to keep moving with time at a faster pace than what the consumer is moving. Otherwise, we may be a brand that is relevant today. In 3 weeks from now, and I'm saying 3 weeks as an example, 3 or 4, and in a few months from now, you are no longer relevant because somebody else has provided that what you are providing in a much better manner. So you have to keep changing and evolving. To consumer behavior is very difficult to understand. I was saying the other day as I was talking to somebody that if you before the research before COVID, if you did a consumer research and understood the consumer, say once in 2 years, once in 3 years, to do a big research and study, to understand consumer behavior and how the patterns are happening, and to do consumer segmentation and to really understand need states and what kind of need states you are going to go after, you would have done that once in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on the company. Now you have to do it that much more faster. You may not be able to do some massive big studies always because it costs a lot of money, but you have to constantly do small studies to understand consumer pulse, consumer behavior, changes in behavior, how their needs are changing, how the need states are changing, how am I being relevant to them, and what is my point of differentiation. Because see, as I said before in answering some other question, technologies come into play in a very big way. Everything is ordered through the app, payment gateways, all delivery, you name it, everything is becoming through the phone. On your phone, you can do everything. And if you are not willing to adapt, if you are not willing to change, if you are not willing to be relevant in that, then you will start losing out. So you really have to adapt. You really have to make things and do things that are relevant in that context. And so it is important that you keep on learning, you keep on understanding, you keep on moving on that this thing, and be relevant in the consumer's eyes to really go after that in that manner. Now, so and the consumer and that relevancy becomes key, because now when every single company starts doing apps, starts doing delivery, starts doing payment gateways, or using money that you can order everything from the comfort of your home, then comes your point, right? If everybody is offering this, how are you different? You have to then again build on top of that to say, now I'm going to be differentiated. I'm going to offer you something different in this manner so that you again start building your consumer loyalty. And that is what I said some time back. What is innovation today is the reality of tomorrow. And then you have to again innovate to again become the reality of day after, and so on and so forth. So it is a continuous circle. Success, as I keep saying, is a journey. It's not a destination. So you have to, it's a constant churn that will keep you fully aware of the consumer's need and how you're going to meet his needs today, tomorrow, and in the future. It's a constant journey. When it comes to the first part of the question, which is a much more broader one, the consumer behavior in different parts of the world are very, very different. That's why we are one big global brand. But if you see the expression and the promotions and how we talk to the customer and the consumer need states and even a product mix. In certain countries, we sell more donuts than coffee. Certain other countries, we sell a lot more coffee, less of donuts. And then we sell a lot more ice cream, more sweeter ice cream in certain parts of the world. In some other part of the world, we sell not so sweet ice cream, but that is the nature of a consumer, and how we, even though we are a global brand, we have global principles and approach towards all of that. We have to adapt in that region, in the market, to be relevant to the consumer, to meet his needs. If not, if I come up with one formula that is made in the USA and try to sell across the world, consumer will go somewhere else. So it so the post pandemic, post COVID or pre COVID, from a consumer behavior, we being relevant to them is the constant. They keep changing or they don't keep changing is their prerogative. I cannot tell a customer what to do, but I have to keep understanding what his needs are and how his needs change and how he's changing, and I have to be relevant. So post or pre, fundamentally, if you keep the customer at the core of everything you do, and his change of behavior and relevancy as my being relevant as my absolute key purpose, and then to differentiate and to offer in something more, will be the keys to really standing out in the crowd, because very soon everybody will be doing what you're doing today. So you have to differentiate. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori, for your question. So next we have a question from Shubham. He asked that how do you see Amul as your global competitor?
See, Amul is a competitor only in India, and it's a great competitor in India. So again, when you look at Baskin, as I said, no, I did not say. I was in some other conversation. I was saying the fact that we are a premium ice cream from a quality and price point of view in India. Amul is more of a mass marketed ice cream with the Amuls and the Vadilals and other brands in India. So we are both playing a different game. So one is from an ice cream industry point of view. Yes, we are all seen as competitors because ultimately we are fighting for the share of the sweet treat space, in every household. So I don't think that way it's any different. But when we are positioned ourselves, we are positioned clearly at the higher end of the ice cream spectrum, and that's a completely different market. Having said that, Amul has done a lot in the ice cream industry. They have created a lot of awareness, and they have built and widened and made the ice cream industry much bigger than what it is now. All due credit to them, but we don't see them as a direct competitor.
So there's a next question from Shubham. How do the new product development take place in Baskin Robbins?
See, if you see our name, we have 31 in our name. It is Baskin 31 Robbins. 31 stands for one new flavor for each day of the month. So you come to Baskin, you'll get something new every single day. That is one. Then we have a thing called the flavor of the month. Every month across the world, you will get new flavors that comes. Now it's not one flavor that is there across the world. We have many factories across the world that keep making. We have a factory in Pune, by the way. Our Baskin Robbins India factory is in Pune, in Pimpri Industrial Belt. So we actually keep making flavors that are relevant to the Indian context through a lot of, again, consumer insights. And because we have many factories across the world, we can make flavors that are relevant to that single market. Flavors from US may not, as I said before, flavors from US may not be necessarily relevant in India or in Japan or in Korea, because the taste profile of the consumers are different. So we have panels, we have consumer panels that test us and tell us what is relevant in each of these countries separately to really relevant in those countries. And we obviously have an advantage of having different factories across the world that help us to meet and cater to regional needs. But again, the biggest thing is to understand consumer need, understand taste profile, understand seasonal fruits. Like you may have Alfonso mango in India, but the sweetness of an Alfonso mango in India, you try to take Alfonso mango ice cream to US, they just don't like it, simply because for them it has to have a tanginess. They take a mango ice cream and put an orange ribbon in it to make it khatamita. So that is how different things are. Same flavor that is good in one plot has to be adapted, because they have not had Alfonso mango in US, so they don't know that mangoes are absolutely sweet. They only have khatamita mangoes. Now, if that is there, our mango ice cream should also reflect to their expectation of a fruit. The expectation of the mango fruit is not just sweet, but is sweet and sour. So the ice cream also has to reflect the fact that it is sweet and sour. So that way we have to adapt, whether it is chocolates, whether it is fruits, whether it is strawberries, whether it is the kind of nuts we use, and all those things. So flavor making, though, having said that, we as a company have more than 1,000 flavors in our database. We are the single largest company in the world that has the maximum number of flavors, and we have more than 1,000 flavors in our database. So we keep going back into our database and coming back on one hand, and our R&D team constantly keeps coming up with new flavors and new combinations. And now we are also moving on to things like organic, vegan, non-dairy, coconut-based, almond-based, all kind of variety of stuff is also coming in, and we are at the forefront of all those innovation. And innovation is key, and we keep constantly working on these things. We have a team that works constantly 24 hours, 365 days. Their job is primarily to focus on R&D, innovation, culinary new things, and changing consumer habits, and how can we be relevant. And that's how we keep coming up with new flavors across the world. Happy to take more questions if you need to answer more, if you need more clarification.
Okay, so next question we have from Chaitanya. Chaitanya is doing his specialization in supply chain and operation. He would like to ask you, saying that every company need to give more focus on changing their various strategies. So as a fresher to this FMCG industry, what could be the key skills one should have to enter in this sector, and what are the new job profiles will come in future for freshers?
See, um, honestly, I may not be the best person to answer about the job scene in India, okay, because I am not directly connected to the job scene there. But I can say for one thing for sure, you know, try and get into any the job. See, as I said, this in that sector, supply chain operations and all those things is extremely important and will continue to be even more important in the days ahead because of the reasons I said earlier. Now, what the pandemic is going to do and how employment will get affected or not get affected is a very difficult question for everyone to answer, because nobody knows the economic impact of the pandemic and the viability of companies and how they're going to approach employment and what sectors are going to get under, or what departments are going to come under pressure. All those things only time will tell. So so on a short term basis, I don't know. Nobody knows because the situation is very fluid. But on an ongoing systematic basis, this is a sunrise sector, and I really believe that these things we will have a lot of opportunities. And I will only say one thing, not only to you but to everyone. You know, whatever job you get, where you start does not matter. Just the journey that you're going to do, just ensure that you have a very clear goal in mind, that I have to keep getting better, I have to keep learning, I have to keep pushing up and to keep enhancing my skills, and I have to keep excelling, and I have to put so much of hard work that there will be nobody in my company that works as hard as me, you know. And if those kind of goals are there within yourself, wherever you get in, you know, you will start doing, because your constant aim is to make you yourself a better person. Because see, ultimately we say we should not be selfish, but if you are not selfish and don't know how to take care of yourself and your own career and your own mood, and your own career move, company will not prosper. So I'm not asking you to be selfish as a character. What I'm trying to say is, ultimately every individual wants to take care of his or her needs, right? To take care of your own needs, when you put in effort and you started working hard and you put in the number of hours and you always want to become a better person and you always want to improve, what happens? The company benefits, because you're working for the company. So you are benefiting the company through you. Ultimately, the company will benefit. But what it also does to you is you are becoming a much more better person. You are on a journey that is always going to improve you, make you better, you know. And set challenges, desire. What is your desire? Desire is the key. I don't know whether you all know Chris Evert, one, tennis player, of many years back. She said one thing: desire is the key. When I have it, I cannot be defeated. So if it is your desire, find a way to get in. Don't worry about the big company, small company at this point of time. Worry about getting a job and express yourself in that job in a way that you stand out, and you stand out by default simply because of your commitment, your passion, your drive, your hard work, and that will be reflected in what you do. It is all sounds very simple, okay? But I'm telling you, what differentiates at work is these things. Because when you go to work, there will be 10 other people with similar qualifications like you. How are you going to differentiate? They will have the same knowledge. They would have studied MBA from the same books. They would have studied the same professors. They would have done everything the same. What are you going to differentiate? It is the soft skills that you can differentiate. It is your hard work that will differentiate. It's your commitment, your desire, your passion that will differentiate. And that is what will take you. So don't worry too much about, you know, what will happen, because pandemic, the situation, what is outside your control, if you worry, there is nothing you can do. Think about what you can do about yourself. When people talk about the economy, I say one more thing: don't worry about the economy, because you can't solve for the economy and the world's economy. Worry about the economy between your 2 ears, which is what is your head, which is your brain. If you worry about this economy, every other economy will fall in place. When this gets corrupt, nothing will work. If this is in the right space, if your economy here, that is your head, your brain, is thinking in the right direction, and you are very clear that whatever I do, I will do it in style. Whatever I do, I will do it in a way that nobody does it. How I will work hard that nobody else can work hard that much more. Whatever I do, I will be better than everybody I can think of, and I will give it my 100%. Then when you start doing, does not matter where you are, which job you are doing, your approach will make you, and you will start growing, and through you your company will grow. Okay, so I'm sorry to give you a very philosophical answer to your specific question, but I just wanted to get this point across. Don't worry much about prospects or not. You make best of the situation you are in, and you will go in the right places at the right time. Thank you. Hope I'm not sure I answered your question directly, but that's all that I know of the job scene in India.
So Chaitanya says, "Thank you, sir. That was really motivational answer."
Thank you. Welcome anytime.
Next we have question from Harshika. Yes, Harshika, you can proceed.
Hello, sir. My name is Harshika Pandey, and mine is very general question. But as you said, you enjoy doing your work, and even in IMDR, you have managed your studies, other responsibilities, and your personal life very well. So, as we are in our second year of PGDM and very close to enter the corporate world, with this comes a new responsibilities. I just want to know what are your suggestions for us to manage our professional and personal lives.
It's a very, very good question, and very, very dear to me and very personal to me. When I was doing, when I was doing my MBA, and I said I did my summer intern project very well. That is the time I summer training project very well. That is the time I realized when my work and social life were all together. Okay, and again, I just want to caution, I'm not saying this is a formula for everyone. I'm saying what worked for me. Okay, so please take that with that, with keeping that in mind, because there is no one size fits all. You have to also find out what is right for you and your character and your approach and your personality and your environment. So I'm saying that beforehand. But I'm saying what happened to me. I realized that once my social life and work life both became together, I started enjoying work even more, absolutely even more. So when you, and that is when I said, I am willing to put in any number of hours, is not because I will put and work so many hours and then I'll go back and sit at home and do something else, and I have to take time out for this and I have to take time out for that. You have to take time out for everything. But the moment you're enjoying what you're doing, you don't think you're putting in hard work. Hard work is a very relative term. Hard work happens when you put effort and nothing happens out of it. That is the time the work you put is hard work. Otherwise, you go back and see, when you put in a lot of effort and you get good marks, you see your primary thing or comment will be everything was worth it. When you put hard work and you don't get marks, you say, oh my God, I put in so much effort, nothing happens. That same philosophy and same principle applies to life. When you start putting in effort, when you start enjoying life, when you start working hard, when you find joy at work, and that is very important. Finding joy and having fun at work is so critical, because you will have a lot of obstacles, you will have a lot of problems, you will have a lot of pressures, you will have a lot of all those work related issues that you get into the professional world, especially as you get in first. But learning to put in so much effort and practice that in a day to day basis in such a way that, and then you come back and learn to have fun. Because see, at the end of the day, fun is two parts. One is fun at work, and one is fun and learning to unwind in the evenings or in the weekends, or however your schedule allows you to do. It is important for a man to balance out both social and professional. Okay, now the balance, there is no one formula. If you are working in a company where you form good friends and then you work till late, and then you also becomes a part of a social habit, like what you do at IMDR, right? You study and then you had fun in the evenings or weekends. If that same philosophy can be applied again, and I'm saying with all caution that there is no one size fits everything, but if you can take the same kind of feeling and same kind of principle at work, that if you go to work and you also learn to have fun and socialize with your work friends in the evenings, okay, and then what happens is you really start, and what happens is that social part of it that happens in the evening comes back into work in the morning, so that continuity happens. So there is one school of thought that will say, oh, you're getting your social life into work, work will get affected. I completely am the opposite. Your work life will get far better. You will enjoy going to work because you have got friends at work now. You're looking forward to the evenings and weekends and all with your friends. So suddenly what happens is your enjoyment quotient, the fact that you enjoy work, is a function of your social life also that is linked to work, and suddenly the whole process becomes so much more enjoyment. You start now looking forward to go to work, because when you work hard as a team and you celebrate as a team and you have a social thing as a team. And mind you, when I say social, doesn't mean every day you can do all these things. You have to come to work every day, but social things not about every day. But even if it is once a week, even if it is what once in whatever time, it is the process of blending both in the right balance. Okay, and that right balance for every individual is different. I may be able to go out and spend more time, you may not be because of pressures at home, and so on and so forth. So I am not saying this is a one size formula, but I'm talking about the philosophy. If we can find a way to get this good balance between both and manage and learn to have fun, because ultimately, I know many people who say it's Monday morning, I have to go back to work. But if you say it's Monday morning, I'm looking forward to go back to work, it's a very different thing. And how will you say that if you're really looking forward to enjoy the day? If you're really going to have fun? And that can only happen, one, not only happen, it can, one of the ways to happen is you enjoy what you're doing, you're having fun, you have, you are doing great. And when professionally you're doing good, you look forward and it's great. But sometimes life is not always that you're successful. You will have difficult days, you will have difficult times, you will have difficult situations. At that time, your same friends at work are the ones who will cheer you up, get you back into shape. Let's do it together. We have failed, no problem. We'll get back at together. The other thing I would say is, when you talk about failure, there is no success without failure. So don't be afraid to fail at all. Be afraid to fall, but learn to get up and run fast. Don't think that, as I said, I talked about my first job as failure. After that, I failed 50,000 times. But be smart enough not to repeat the same mistake, and be smart enough to learn from that. But always say, you fail, you get up and run again, because, and when that kind of an approach you have, you are not afraid of failure. You're not afraid of anything. You are willing to embrace tough situations. You're willing to embrace pressure. You're willing to embrace all the situations. And you also have a way to get out of it, which is, I will go and have spend some time with my friends. I will do something. You have to find a way to unwind as well. But if you can do at work itself, great. If not, you have to have a separate social circle also, which everyone has. Okay, so I'm not saying this is the only way, and I'm repeating that because you have to be very careful on how you take it. But you have to find a way to have your social circle as well, to keep you grounded and not to get so sucked down by work that there is nothing else that happens. So it is a very fine balance. It's a very fine line that divides, but you have to find a way to enjoy your job, and that is extremely critical. The more you enjoy a job, there is absolutely no hard work at job, because then it is fun. And the moment you have fun at work, every single thing you do, you enjoy, and you're looking forward to go back to work, and that is where you give off your best. Because many a times people say Monday to Friday, after that I'm gone. It is never works Monday to Friday. Your office timing could be whatever it is. Okay, and I'm talking of my own personal experience. Again, there could be many jobs that is Monday to Friday. That is for them to decide what is right or wrong. But at the end of the day, job, if you are looking at your career as a professional life to really do well in life, this is the time to really put in the hard yards to really make a difference to you. And as I said earlier before, be selfish to yourself to make yourself a better person, and then adapt. And a better person is not just professionally. I'm talking of making a better person. Be socially relevant. Be in the context of what's happening. Understand what's happening in the social life. Understand what's happening in professional life. Take care of your personal needs. Take care of your parents. Take care of your responsibilities at home. Take care of your spouses and children. Nothing can happen at the cost of the other. So the balance is always tough. But the balance, every individual has to find out what is my best way to balance. But don't mix that with having fun at work as well. Having fun at work professionally is one, having the social angle with your colleagues is also important. And when you get all of these, then you have to find, every single individual finds his own balance that is relevant to him in the context that makes sense to him. So there is definitely no one size fits all, but you have to make a conscious effort towards working and getting this balance and find out what is the right balance for you. But you will learn only with time. There is nothing guaranteed, but you have to work with time that this kind of an approach works well for me. I found out my own level, and every individual has to find out his own way of doing his or her things. Hope that was helpful.
Thank you. It was really motivating answer, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshika, for your question. So we have one last question from Abhishek, which is leading to Harshika's question. He says that as Harshika said that we are very close to entering the corporate world, and in this process, if I don't get the kind of opportunity that I want, where my desire lies, then what do I do?
See, very tough one, because but remember one thing: what you think your desire is today, or what you think you want today, the world is changing very fast. Okay, so what you think is right today may not be right tomorrow. So if you think this is what you want, it is great. If you have the clarity, I'm not at all putting you down in any way. I'm saying if one has the clarity, great. But please also remember one thing: you may be clear today, tomorrow everything will turn on its head, and what you thought was right today is wrong tomorrow. Okay, so sometimes if you don't get what you're wanting, does not matter, take up something and keep working back at where you think you really are good at. Okay, if I would have not got that Vadila's job, I would have got the pharmaceutical job, I would have definitely taken up that job and tried to do the best of everything I could. But maybe I'm speculating, I would have still kept looking around for the job of my dreams or what I really want to do, and then when I'm ready I will move. But keep working at it. Whatever you get, give your 100%. Don't ever try to say this is not my job, I'm just going to work to get some salary and I'll buy some time. Don't do that, because remember one thing: your own brand. For me, brand John is more important than anybody else. If you spoil your own name, then you get spoil your brand will get spoiled very soon in the industry. Okay, if you don't let anybody spoil it. I learned it the first job that I lost my job, that I will try my best not to lose a job because of hard work. I may lose my job for some other reason, but it will never be because I did not put effort. That was a resolution I took to myself, because I care for brand John. I am telling each one of you, care for your own brand. Don't spoil your name. Your reputation is more important to you than anybody else. Okay. Nobody cares for you as much as you do. And nobody will care for you as much as you do. So you have to create and protect your brand. So wherever you go, does not matter if it's an industry or not, you have to do your best and give it in such a way that the people have to see it and feel it. But on the other hand, you have to still keep looking for the one that gives you the ultimate pride, the ultimate satisfaction. Sometimes not getting a certain job in time is the best thing that could happen. When I look back at my life, I feel good is because of many rejections in life that got me here. If I would have got everything I asked for, if I would have got every job that I hoped for, or if I would have got every promotion that I hoped for, I would not be here today. I would have been somewhere else. And I don't know that somewhere else was good or bad. So don't get worried about the first job, the second job, or anything. Get worried about that. Whatever the job, I will give my best. But you have a goal, you want to get into this kind of an industry, keep looking, keep working, you will reach there. Okay. But see, at the end of the day, it is like this. I'll give a small example. You have a goal, you have to work on that goal. Just because when imagine you're leaving from office and going back home, or leaving from college and going back home, there is an accident on the way. Just because there is an accident on the way, you're not deciding today I will not go back home. What will you do? You will find some other way to go back home. You mean instead of reaching in 30 minutes, you will reach in 1 hour. Okay, but you will go back home. So keep that in mind always. This is my goal, but that does not mean my journey is stopping. I will find some other way to reach there. But on that some other way, if I have to catch hold of some other job, and then I will ultimately reach my dream industry or my dream sector or my dream company, so be it. Because there is a right time and place for everything, and it is always not in your control. But don't give up. Keep on going. Journey is it's a process. Just because there are speed breakers or obstacles along the way, don't lift your eye off the goal. The goal is very clear, and keep going at it. So it's a process. It's an evolvement of a journey, and it is a journey. Okay. And I said before, a success is a journey. So don't, just by getting into the right sector on your first company, it doesn't mean that you will be successful in life. You may be, but that alone is not a passport to success. The main ingredient of success is what is inside you. What is there inside you? Strong desire, strong belief drives passion, and that passion is what will drive you to where you have to go. So don't worry about, you're too early in life to worry about this. All obviously, if you get what you want, greatest. But if you don't get, it is not anything. This is life is a marathon, not a 100-meter sprint, and you have to prepare a lot for a marathon. So the first job, second job, third, fourth, all those are preparing for your marathon. The sprint is where you start and you finish before you know. Life is not that way. Life is not a sprint. Life is a marathon race. So prepare, plan and prepare to run this marathon race. You will do much better in life.
Paddy, can I have the pleasure of asking the last question?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
John, sir, of course, you touched upon some effects of the current pandemic on your business, and they were very interesting to note. But as a business professional, what do you think would be the larger impact on economies affecting maybe your line of business, FMCG, of this COVID situation, which has lasted now for almost 4 months and is likely to last for a couple of months more? So, how do you think the economy is getting impacted by it? It's a very general question. I'm sorry, but
No. Thank you so much, sir. Because we working in this company, we have to keep an eye on that always.
yes,
And generally, if you go to see, my biggest worry and our company's biggest worry is the economic fallout of this is going to be much more impactful or much more meaningful and much more hurtful than the COVID related fallout, direct COVID related fallout. It is a COVID related fallout that's leading to an economic downsizing and economic impact and the effect of that across the world. I think the world has not yet seen the real effect of the economic downturn. They're only seeing uh, we are not seeing statistics, GDP numbers, growth, and deficits and budget deficits and so on and so forth across the world. That policy changes will happen from governments across the world. Today everybody is just printing notes, and government in the US is just funding. EU is funding. Everybody is funding and doing all these things. The cumulative effect of all those things will be felt little later, and that is where it will really start dragging and pulling everything down. I think the stock markets, if you see, every market is going back and it is nearly back to the pre-pandemic days. But there are so many industries that are down in the dumps and nothing is happening. Unemployment is going to be low for quite some time simply because many of these industries, from hotel industry, entertainment industry, all the cinemas and malls and all are suffering. And any public transport, airline industry, as I said, hotels, cruise industry, and many other industries, advertising industry, because people are not willing to advertise, that is getting affected. You can name it, and the spiral effect of that goes down to every single sector, and that is only getting worse. People are still not, what is also happening is, what is hiding things to a certain extent is, all governments are putting a lot of money to bail people out, to give them short-term funding. Nothing, there is no free lunch. Nothing comes free. There is a price for everything that the government is doing, and either you pay it as a tax in later years, or you pay it in some other form, or you repay it in any other form that the government wants. But there is nothing free. There is a price and a cost to everything that's happening across the world. The effect of that, I feel, is slowly now starting to see in many sectors across the world. There is no reason for the stock markets to be at this price, because the world has not come back to where it was, anywhere close to where it was before the pandemic. But the stock market seems to believe everything is fine across the world, not only here. So, in fact, I'm talking more about across the world. So the economy, in my mind, to answer the question direct, sir, I feel the next few quarters you will really see the economic impact of it. Things will go down before it gets better. And unemployment numbers coming out across the world shows a different very picture, in a completely very different picture. So those will start affecting disposable income, and when it starts affecting disposable income, more and more jobs will be at risk, and more industries will get at risk, because the amount of money that people have to spend will come down. Like if you take Middle East itself, oil prices crashed, oil prices went down, Economic impact, that means there is no infrastructure spending. There is no infrastructure spending means there is no jobs. Expats have been asked to leave the country. Many expats are leaving the country. Saudi Arabia, for example, increased VAT from 5% to 15% from July 1st. Now, the economic fallout of that is people will have 10% less money to spend on necessities. On forget luxuries. Luxuries will get completely eroded, may get, but even on necessities, you will start having less disposable income. And the spiral effect of that will take little more time to see. But I foresee another 3 to 6 months from an economic point of view, we will really see the actual impact on the ground. And as a result of that, the spiral effect on that, on all related and distantly related industries as well, that you will really start feeling the pinch. And that is where one has to work hard to get out from that, and that is why the governments have to come in, companies have to come in, and that is why retrenchment that you see now or job losses that you see now is people doing things in anticipation. But when that happens, when the rubber hits the road at that point of time, you may see another wave of stuff, you may see even worse things happening, and that is where I'm really worried. I just hope the vaccine comes in, things improve fast, and then optimism will carry us forward. But even if the vaccine comes in 3 to 4 months from now, by the time the world gets the vaccine, it will be another 6, 8, 10, 12 months. So this is going to be a little more prolonged and little more scary than what we think it may be. But again, this is just one man's opinion. No idea. I'm just hoping and optimist as ever that things will improve faster than before. But that should not let us worry and bog us down. We have to still find our way, whether it is our individual lives, our professional lives, our personal lives, to really find and look at the positives, to get over this hump and try and be in such a strong manner when we get onto the other side.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very broad insight. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
Thank you, Abhishek and Randive sir, for your questions. Sir, Abhishek says that I'll always keep your words in mind. Thank you very much, sir. Uh, Now, I would like to invite Archie to present a vote of thanks. Over to you, Archie.
Thank you, Pradyum. So, it's my immense pleasure to present vote of thanks today. This is Archie Jiwani. On behalf of Deccan Education Society, IMDR Pune, I would like to thank you for giving us time and inspiring us on your journey from before IMDR to Duncan Brands today. Your stories and experiences have really inspired us, as you mentioned in your talk about your days back to IMDR campus and how you tried to take the fullest from those 2 years by having equal amount of fun, which honestly gives us a feeling of missing out our campus currently. And the story that you shared about your first job after IMDR is a true inspiration for us, especially we all being so near to our placements. The insights which you shared about ice cream as a category post pandemics and how it is a medium of celebration in the families for even small events, how supply chain and operations becomes even more important now, and how food safety is expected in food industry right now. We also saw how customers go to their trusted brands currently in COVID and doesn't want to experiment with new brands, how company is needed to change according to the consumer's needs and do the product differentiation accordingly. We also learned how innovation is the key for the new product development and how constantly enhancing ourselves and improving ourselves and finding joy in whatever we do will lead to success in our career and even in our life. This piece of information is really helpful for us in our future endeavor. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank our director, faculty, non teaching staff for continuously encouraging and supporting us for such corporate connect. I thank the entire student organizing team, technical support, and last but not least, I thank all my students' colleagues without whom the session wouldn't have been successful. Thank you all.
Thank you, Archie. Well said.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I would like to thank you for your time and efforts you took to share your thoughts and experiences with our students. So the participants took some invaluable takeaways from discussion. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. As I said, IMDR is very close to my heart and I really mean it. It is wishing all the students a very good placement season, even through this difficulty. I'm sure all of y'all will come through it and we'll all get better onto the other side. Thank you so much to the principal Shika ma'am, and to all of you all, the faculty, and to all everybody working in IMDR management team there. Thank you so much for this opportunity and wishing all of you the very best and stay safe. Thank you.